Determining strength of normal reinforced concrete. Determining strength of RAAC concrete.
As the scandal of crumbling schools came to light just after the summer holidays, a series of revelations came thick and fast. Putting aside the fact that this ticking time bomb has been known about for at least a decade, we're dealing with what's just happened over the last 3 weeks. Gillian Keegan, Education Secretary, was nowhere to be found, except on this rather odd RAAC guidance video that had a dance track underneath.
RAAC stands for Reinforced Autoclaved Aerated Concrete, and it's a lightweight form of concrete that was used in building construction from the 1950s until the mid-1990s.
Of course, Jeremy Hunt wanted to use it as an opportunity to slash money from elsewhere.
In terms of my decisions as Chancellor, that we will prioritise spending money to sort out these problems where that needs to happen. And in my first autumn statement, we announced an extra £2.3 billion for schools. That was in a context of having to cut back public spending in other areas.
But the real scandal began when it was found out that Sunak was to blame for cutting the budgets to rebuild the schools.
Permanent Secretary at the Department for Education has said this morning that when they wanted to put more money into repairing schools, you as Chancellor didn't allow that to go ahead and in fact cut that budget. Are you to blame for what's happening now? And do you want to apologise to parents and pupils?
I think that is completely and utterly wrong. Actually, one of the first things I did as Chancellor in my first spending review in 2020 was to announce a new 10-year school rebuilding programme for 500 schools. Now, that equates to about 50 schools a year that will be refurbished or rebuilt. And if you look at what we've been doing over the previous decade, that's completely in line with what we've always done, about 50 or so schools a year refurbished or rebuilt. That's what I announced as Chancellor in my first spending review.
And then, on top of that, it was found out that only 4 schools over the last 2 years had been rebuilt. Then we had this, Keegan swearing because she felt underappreciated under all of the pressure to get these schools rebuilt.
We'll get a plan and every single one of them will be done.
OK, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone ever say, you know what, you've done a good job because everyone else has sat on their ass and done nothing? No signs of that, no?
She then went on to duck any responsibility.
So do you think you're doing an effing good job?
I wasn't talking about me, actually. I was talking about the department. The job that I was talking about started in March 2022, so way before I was in.
Then there was this revelation.
I read in my Sun newspaper this morning that you spent £32 million refurbishing your offices, did you?
I don't know, actually, I didn't. I haven't done it.
Looks very nice.
Which offices?
Your offices, Department of Education.
Yeah, I know that when I was last in the department, I was on a different floor, and I know they are refurbishing some of them, but no, I wasn't involved in that.
Best use of funds at the moment?
Well, I wasn't. I don't know what I mean, I guess there's some maintenance requirements that they had on there. I wasn't part of that decision, to be honest, but I'll check when I get back. I know that I'm in a different floor than we used to be in, so I guess they're refurbishing aspects of the building. But of course, every part of the public estate needs to be refurbished and needs to be kept up to speed. In this case, I think it's really important to say that we have done something that we've never really done before, which is the responsible bodies normally would do this.
Though, at the moment, is it 32 million quid on offices when schools are crumbling?
I don't know what the condition of the offices. We could have been dealing with other issues within the offices, but I will look at it when I get back.
Hang on, didn't she just say that she knew nothing about this refurbishment?
In April this year, the Education Secretary signed a contract for refurbishment of her offices. It's got her personal stamp of approval on it. It cost, I can't quite believe this, £34 million. Can he explain to parents whose children aren't at school this week why he thinks a blank cheque for his Tory minister's office is better use of taxpayers' money than stopping schools collapsing?
Mr. Speaker, what I'd say to parents is...
Now there's this, another rotting cherry on the festering, maggot-ridden cake of deceit and ineptitude that they think we, the general public, will swallow.
It is the colossal shambles of a Secretary of State who we learnt from the Select Committee this morning did not merely sit on new advice which she received on the 21st of August about the safety of school buildings. No, She did nothing for 4 days, and then she acted decisively. She went on holiday for the best part of a week. 10 days passed from the day she received the crucial advice to the day that head teachers were told to close their schools, causing chaos for parents. Now, just a fortnight ago, the Secretary of State's response to questions about the management of the department's own building was simple and proud. The motto she has made her own: nothing to do with me. She had done a good job while others had been sat on their backsides. I asked the Secretary of State whether she still thinks that is good enough. And I ask her more simply, how on earth, even under this Prime Minister, weak as he is, even under this government, how on earth did she think she could get away with going on holiday rather than taking any form of action at all? Will she at last take responsibility for 13 years of failure, 3 weeks of chaos, and for the years stretching ahead of our children sitting under steel girders? When will all of our children be back in their own schools and back in their own classrooms? Because, Mr. Speaker, parents, families, staff, and above all our children deserve answers. And they deserve better from this government and better than this Secretary of State.
Click here. Rishi Sunak wants you to bet your life.